What a massive victory for the BJP and a decisive government for India after 30 years, after being plagued by coalition politics, and now it looks like it's out of those shackles. Remember, business had been suffering for quite a few years and there was a change that was evident, and now that change has come. So what is India really making from this historic mandate, and what is high on their agenda for the new government? For that, we are joined by two captains of the industry, Rana Kapoor, who is the president of ASSOCHAM and MD and CEO of Yes Bank, as well as Ajay Piramal, the chairman of the Piramal Group. Both the gentlemen are joining us to tell us what exactly is it that corporate India wants from the new government. Gentlemen, so good to have you on the show. Let me start by asking you, Mr. Kapoor. The stable mandate everyone was hoping for has really come through. Now, 300 plus for NDA, with BJP alone winning over 280. What is the message that has been sent across?
I think it's most heartening to see that the development agenda, which has been predominantly the focus of Shri Narendra Modi ji, has been the deciding factor in this significant mandate which has been awarded to his leadership, to the NDA, to the BJP. And I congratulate Shri Narendra Modi ji for this outstanding victory. I think with this victory comes naturally significant responsibility for an economy which is set to go, to add incrementally and substantially to our growth going forward, and to fulfill expectations which are riding really high on this particular victory. And it will be very interesting to see what happens over the next 100 days, because that will build confidence, that will build conviction, and I'm certain that with a mandate as substantial as this one is, it will be a turning point for the Indian economy, naturally to benefit Indian citizens and to also provide a very large and substantial market for foreign investors.
That's right, Mr. Kapoor. It's a large mandate. So let me come to you, Mr. Piramal. With this kind of a strong majority that it has got at the center, do you think that now it will be easier for Narendra Modi to push through some of the bold decisions which are required in the industry and the economy right now?
Clearly, I think he will take the development path. That's what he was saying, and he is stuck to it right through from the beginning till now. And I think he will deliver on development. He needs to. He's got such a strong mandate from the country. Now it's a responsibility to deliver on it, and I think he will.
Mr. Kapoor, Modi went into the polls with development as the pet theme. Do you think that this kind of a mandate will help him push through some of the things? And what is ASSOCHAM as an industry body really expecting from the government to do?
This mandate is so significant that it allows Mr. Modi and his team to literally rewrite India's economic history. The development focus dovetailed with superior governance, which is the need of the hour, with improving policies, with acceleration in reforms, with clarity of mission on certain industries which require literally an injection, a shot of energy to boost the outcomes, for example, in the energy and power sector, in infrastructure, improvement in business regulation, for instance, improving finances of the government of India, and I would like to believe a lot of focus on skill and educational development.
So what are those reforms that you are expecting, Mr. Kapoor? Is it cutting fuel subsidies, and also do you look forward to some of the special reforms in the financial sector?
Mr. Modi now has a mandate. He has more than one elbow room, actually more like two elbow rooms, to be able to navigate the economy. I think there is a lot of clarity in the way the BJP manifesto was rolled out. There are clear-cut priorities. There is naturally emphasis on agriculture reforms, on the role of micro SMEs, for high employment generation sectors like tourism, for instance, the ability to get infrastructure rolled out and to de-choke some of the bottlenecks that have crept up in the economy over the last few years. So I think there is a host of opportunity which, with some push, some drive, some conviction, and the kind of confidence and the track record that Shri Modi and his team have, is so well proven that I have a feeling that it's a matter of a few days, months for things to really look up, and there is enough investment capital around the world waiting to come to India.
That's right, Mr. Kapoor. And of course, the wish list could be long for corporate India when it comes to what Narendra Modi should be doing. But Mr. Piramal, what according to you should be the first few things that Mr. Modi should do to set the economy rolling and get some revival setting in?
I think, first of all, ASAP, what the government needs to do is to start taking decisions. It's a very important thing. For a leader has to start taking decisions. He needs to empower his bureaucracy. He needs to empower his ministers that they take decisions, and the leader will stand behind them. But in the economic situation, I think the quickest wins probably could be in infrastructure. There are so many projects which have been stalled, whether there's a mess in the power sector, projects as far as roads and other things are concerned. I think he'll have to unleash that. That is the earliest. Then it will take time for other things to really get implemented. But I would say that he would attack the infrastructure first.
But Mr. Piramal, most of corporate India as well as most of the promoters have been waiting on the sidelines due to uncertainty from various accounts. Now, would a Modi government really bring about some euphoria then?
I think it will be a very positive boost in the sentiments for promoters, as well as, one of the things that you felt in the last few years in India is that all the regulatory authorities were actually working against promoters, or there was a lack of trust. Now if there is confidence, if there is sentiment, then promoters will commit to put more money in. Once they start investing into the country, you'll find that manufacturing will go up and the GDP will also go up.
Now, Mr. Kapoor, you said that the financial sector requires a lot of funding, and that is required. How do you see the foreign investors really playing out? Would they, who are waiting on the sidelines now, quickly start putting in money, or is there some time lag? And do you foresee a lot more capital flowing into the Indian markets from here on?
I see, significant sums of capital, investment capital, as in the capital markets, which already have a very well laid out infrastructure. A fairly good framework is substantially in place. So I see significant inflows through the FII route. I also see FDI getting catalyzed, because that has been somewhat on pause for some time, for the last few months for that matter. But I do see that with the improvement in the climate, the perception of the country that FDI should come in. And what will also be very important is over the next 100, 200, 300 days literally, and we have to count in days, is to see how we will be able to attract and short-term investments as well. Because if you see, a lot of the public sector corporations are reasonably well managed. Even if we offload 5 to 15% in some of the top 10, 15 PSUs, we can garner anywhere between 1 lakh to 1,50,000 crores. So I think bold decisions, strategic decisions, which will build and inspire confidence in our country is going to be a very critical message. I think Mr. Modi's connect with some of the leading nations of the world, like Japan, to some extent, I would say, Europe, and the Middle East to some extent as well, should be able to attract a lot more investments in the energy sector, which is very much required, to be able to look at investments in the logistics and transportation sector. And I think the track record of Gujarat as a showcase to the rest of the world is a good way to really demonstrate that we can replicate or even better that in most other parts of the country. So I am very convinced, ASSOCHAM, my leadership there is very convinced, and we shall support the government in all forms of enabling policy decision making and naturally in its implementation.
That's right, Mr. Kapoor. In fact, investments are the need of the hour. But apart from that, stable government is going to be there, but they have a number of challenges on the macroeconomic front as well, especially in terms of inflation and also the supply concerns. How do you see inflation trends and therefore interest rates really moving from here on?
You see, inflation has been top of the mind. Reserve Bank of India has done everything possible and continues to sustain its efforts in controlling inflation. It is also very evident that there are definitely enough reasons to believe that inflation will be harnessed. We are seeing clearly WPI coming well within control, and there are enough signals that CPI in course of time should also moderate. So I have reason to believe the target of 8% for January 2016 and 6% for 2016 is definitely very visible. But what we need in addition to that is really to take care of the permanent causes of inflation. Unfortunately, inflation will persist in our country unless the supply side correction is made, and we have an opportunity now. We need naturally favorable interest rates in the country, in rupee markets. Naturally, we need some review of ECB guidelines, long-term ECB. We need to open up domestic and international bond markets for Indian corporates to invest and to create new capital formation, because structural correction will happen when naturally the supply side really improves. So I have reason to believe that the moment there is confidence and belief that there is a long-term favorable economic cycle underway, investors will come in, domestic and international, create more capacity and naturally in the process be able to improve the supply side, which is the predominant reason that we have had sticky inflation.